Hello and welcome to another episode of 10 Minutes with 10 Leaves, where we give insightful information in just 10 minutes. I'm your host, Bhumika Arora, and today we are diving into one of the hottest topics in finance and real assets tokenization in the UAE. To help us decode this evolving landscape, we are joined by someone who's been at the forefront of regulatory and financial innovation in the UAE, Rohit Ghai, founder of 10 Leaves. Rohit, once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bhumika. I guess we missed a week, but I'm here now and looking forward to many more such episodes. But let's see what we're going to speak about today.
Yes, I'm sure we are going to catch up for that. And all right, Rohit, let's jump right in. Why tokenization? What are the fundamental drivers behind this concept, and why do you think it is gaining momentum now?
Okay, see, Bhumika, while tokenization is a big subject, let me try to break it down into something which is more relevant to this discussion. Okay, so the basic concept of tokenization is you take an asset, let's say maybe a flat in Dubai Marina, and now that's kind of an illiquid asset, right? When you want to buy and sell that asset, you got to go to the land department and make some changes and pay some fees and things like that. So the transaction costs and the process is quite laborious, and you can't sell, maybe one bedroom of your flat or even lesser, maybe 10 square feet or something. You can't do that. You have to sell the whole flat. Now that's not very, as the market calls it, liquid. So enter tokenization, wherein you are able to chop this up into, let's say, 1,000 little pieces. Not actually chop it up, but represent, have 1,000 what we call tokens to represent this flat. So one token represents 1,000th of the flat. Right now, this token, as opposed to shares, is something which is very unique to that flat. And if I hold the token, I can sell it to you or to somebody else on based on certain terms and conditions and certain mechanisms. But the point being that all of a sudden I'm able to uh, convert this illiquid asset into this tradable asset. So that's the concept behind tokenization, and as uh, as it sounds, it's quite unique, very new to the market in the scheme of things. But more importantly, it allows for it allows people to get access to a flat in Dubai Marina, like we said. They may not be able to buy the whole flat, but maybe 1,000th of it. So they can buy in. Theoretically, they can buy into the yields and the capital appreciation you have for that flat at a low cost. And for the owners of the flat, or the you're able to kind of make it a liquid and tradable asset, so that gives you some money to play with without losing your actual asset. There are some other, let's say, advantages, things like fractional costs are very less. I mean, you're going to be paying a lot more if you're buying the taking the whole flat out. Now, again, all of what I'm saying right now is not finalized. It can happen that when a tokenizing, the land department comes and says there's still a X amount of fee. But the concept is that if you don't take a flat, you take a piece of an art, maybe a painting, a very high value painting of millions of dollars. You can have a small bit of it and buy into that without actually buying the whole painting. So that's the concept of tokenizing. And why is it gaining momentum right now? Well, the digital age is on us. Everyone wants everything in a wallet. You don't carry cash, you carry Apple Pay and Samsung Pay on your phone. So if you can have most of your assets in tokenized form on a wallet on your phone and carry it around, that's what's the attractive part. And obviously everyone's looking for new avenues to make money, and tokenizing can free up a lot of these real world assets which are locked in land, especially, and real estate, gold. A lot of that can be the value can be unlocked. So that's the concept, really.
Rightly said, Rohit. I think that's a very, very unique idea. And I really hope they are able to implement this. All right. So I think it's very clear how tokenization is opening doors for new investors. And I think it's also redefining how we view ownership and asset distribution. Okay. Rohit, now let's look at where we are today. What
Mhm.
do you think is the what's the current landscape of tokenization in the UAE, especially in the property sector?
Yeah, so property is where, I mean, it's a very hot sector right now in the UAE, as you know, and so is
Mm,
tokenization. I get a couple of calls every week on, oh, I want to tokenize real estate, knowing little that I've been speaking about this to many more like-minded individuals. Uh, See, the problem is, like you said, it's unique. It's not. I would say maybe the unique is not the right word. It's something which has been an idea in, and it's been existing in fringes. People are trying to take it, get it mainstream, and
right.
UAE being the, you know, I want to do everything the first and the best.
Mm,
That using that spirit, they've really embraced the idea and the concept. Uh, However, in practice, there's a lot of work to be done. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, VARA, the Dubai Land Department, they announced their own tokenization sandbox. So there's a lot of this. There are some pilot projects in real estate tokenization right now. Developers are saying, okay, here's a new way I can sell to the market, and obviously they are interested. Investment banks on the other side and sitting in DIFC are saying, okay, here's an asset class which I can securitize and maybe have a more diverse portfolio for my clients and whatnot.
mm,
Uh, there are sandboxes, regulatory sandboxes. In the DIFC, they announced their tokenization sandbox, which is incidentally open till April 25th, expressions of interest. But overall, while there's a lot of effort being done, there's a lot more to be done because there are multiple regulators. B, uh, the market is not there. I mean, it's not apparent, right? I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in this. It's not just, oh, you know what, I'll tokenize real estate and here in Pesto I have, it's all done. No, it's not. That's the starting point. What do you do with these tokens? Where do you sell them? How do you sell them? What regulations do you have to adhere to? You need a marketplace. They have to be buyers and sellers, so they have to be participants in the market. It's nice if you
right.
tokenize a piece of real estate, but if you don't have
Mm,
anyone to sell it to, you're essentially holding the equivalent of waste paper, which is digital hashes. There's nothing much you can do with it. So I believe that right now, while it's an exciting concept and everyone's all gung ho about it, I feel there's a lot more work to be done on the ground. Like I tell most of my clients who call me up and say, I want to tokenize real estate. I say, nice. Can you buy me a token today? And no one knows where it is and how to do it. So it's still very early days. The DIFC, the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, and ADGM are kind of in their own ways contributing to this ecosystem. But I feel now they'd have to sit together and understand how they can solve this, or how can they can create this ecosystem together. I think that's where it is right now.
right. I think it will require a lot of work, but it's equally exciting to see how the UAE is not just catching up, but actually leading in this space, and especially in the real estate where the potential is massive.
Mhm.
Okay, Rohit, I have a big question for you, like a big one. So, what does the licensing landscape look like? What should platforms or companies know before they actually jump into this?
So that's the question. That's the question I get asked twice every week at least, and
I'm
my
sure.
answer, yeah, and I don't
Hmm,
have an answer, funnily enough, because
okay.
I mean, see, there's always the first time it's done, and if it's done
Hmm,
well and everything's all set, and the proof of the pudding is okay, I can now buy the Mac token on some place, on some exchange.
hmm,
That's actually when it is done. Until then, it's all theory. Everyone's trying to figure out how to do it. So there are
right.
different licensing authorities, like I said. The laws are also pretty nascent, and they're trying to, investor protection is key here, because when you have a token, you really don't have that real estate in front of you. There's a lot of um, uh, regulatory trust which they have to create in it. So that's why there's a burden of regulation, investor protection, and of course AML, KYC, which is money laundering concerns and things like that. So uh, licensing clarity is not there fully, because
Hmm,
once you, yeah, everyone's offering their bit and saying yes, you can do it here. But what happens if, again, an interesting analogy, if I'm sitting in a car and I'm accessing the platform, in Dubai, and can I just, while driving to Abu Dhabi, and I buy the token, but am I subject to some other licensing authority, because Dubai is under WARA, and Abu Dhabi under Securities and Commodities Authority, or ADGM, depending on where I land. So
Hmm.
yeah, this may sound silly, but it's the truth. When there are multiple regulators, there will be overlap, and how do you how do you come up with the solution, and understanding where what's the best way to do it. Every case is different, so I would say one thing is sure. Unlicensed tokenization platforms are not welcome, and the UAE is pretty strict on that. So, and as an investor, if you're looking at getting something done, where first look at where, if they're licensed or not, and if they're licensed by a competent authority in the UAE. Otherwise, that token's not worth anything mostly. And secondly, from a licensing standpoint, always consult an expert. Don't go to just the cheapest and the easiest way to do it, because this is not cheap and this is not easy. So I would say,
Right.
keep waiting for the big person, the big guy who does it first. That creates a
Hmm.
path, and until then, a lot of this work is feasibility and understanding the landscape, for which that's what I consult on. But in general, I think there's a wait and watch approach from the medium and smaller players.
Right. Makes sense. So it's not just about the tech. It's about doing it right with the right licenses in place. Good to know that regulators are actively shaping this space.
Yeah, they are.
All right.
They're
Yeah.
working very hard on it. I mean, the DFSA came out with that tokenization thing and 2 years back, and then they
Hmm.
revisited it now. So yeah, they kept their ear to the ground, and hopefully it evolves, and it evolves fast.
And I really, really know that UA, being UA, they are going to achieve it very soon.
Yeah,
So, all right then. And thank you, Rohit. That brings us to the end of this episode of 10 Minutes with 10 Leaves. And thank you for sharing these sharp insights with us.
always welcome, Bhumika. Pleasure to be on the show.
All right, absolutely. And to our listeners, if you found this insightful, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more such conversations. See you all next time with more actionable insights. Until then, stay curious, stay informed.